The turnover among especially appointed elected officials is because of the ugliness that's taken over our politics. They can quickly be fired from their jobs if they don't kowtow to the political forces in their county. I did the job for 36 years, and during that 36 years, a lot of county clerks left because the job as county clerk didn't pay extra to conduct elections. County clerks ran elections for the love of it. And when it got ugly and dangerous, they left the field because they weren't being paid for that. Because you're inexperienced, it's easy for you to overlook something that would be considered a preventable mistake. And once there's a mistake made, it's even easier for others in the county to say, oh, it wasn't a mistake, it was deliberate. Or to say that a mistake was just due to incompetence. And you end up being vilified, or your elections administrator is vilified needlessly. And it was just because they needed more support from the community, not being attacked. I think there's a couple of things that happen when you have less experience. First of all, you tend to have more questions and more delays when you're trying to produce results on election night. And anytime that happens, that creates a problem with voters not being all that comfortable with the way things are going. And anytime you have voters who are beginning to question what's going on, that reduces the confidence in the election. I think voters are having difficulty being confident in elections because they're not getting their results timely, because there are little, mistakes being made behind the scenes. It's not fraud, it's just we lack the efficiency that comes with experience. Turnover and having new people come into the process is something you want all the time. Nobody's ever said that that was a bad idea. What is a bad idea is to let those new people come into those jobs without the proper training, without the proper support. If all you're going to do is put them in the new jobs and they haven't had good training classes, if they haven't had the support of the community, that's where we're not doing right by them. Don't attack people when you don't know what's happened, and when a little grace would be a far better reaction than to attack them. Put yourself in their shoes. It is a complicated job. Have you ever done it? It is a complicated job. It requires a lot of judgment, and there's a lot of procedures to follow. So before you jump to conclusions, let's make sure you have all the facts first. And then we can make a judgment call about whether the person needs more training and more support for an accidental mistake, rather than jumping to a terrible conclusion that they've done something deliberately. That usually is not the case. I found that the best way to treat anybody who was worried or who had questions about the process was to open the door and bring them into the office. Let them see everything behind the scenes. Let them watch all of the testing, all of the auditing. I never had anybody that I brought into the process who looked at everything, who had all their questions answered, who kept that same mindset that there was something bad going on. But we definitely want to make sure that we've got as open a door as possible, transparency. Let the sunshine in. Let voters see what's going on, because when they see all the procedures you have to follow, very few have their questions unanswered. Part of that is because of the natural flow of people retiring. It's the same in every industry. But the other part of it is because of the harassment and the fear that's being visited upon elections administrators and those of us who have worked in this field. And that has got to stop. So my fear is not only are we losing experienced people, but the reason why we're losing experienced people is because of the harassment and the mistreatment of those who are in these jobs. If you're in the process of yelling at or being mean to or ugly to any of those election officials, you're automatically in the wrong. There is no reason at all to treat somebody who is doing their best to deliver democracy to your neighborhood, to treat them any less than what the golden rule would ask for. So what we would say is this: if you are one of those folks who walks into a polling place and you see something ugly going on, you see somebody mistreating somebody else, and it really doesn't matter what the circumstances are, if you don't speak up, then what that means is, by remaining silent, you are not being neutral. Remaining silent means you are being complicit in the mistreatment of those who are trying to deliver democracy.